few weeks ago, somebody paid me $500 for a 1-hour phone call. And by the end of that call, my friend, she said it was worth every penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. $500 for an hour with Casey Brown? What could you possibly give someone in 60 minutes that could be worth that much? And honestly, it's a fair question because most coaching calls, they're just motivational fluff. Somebody hypes you up, tells you you're amazing, gives you some generic feedback and advice, and then you're back to being stuck 2 days later. But this call, my calls, are a bit different. She was invisible. She had all this expertise, all this value to offer, but she couldn't figure out how to communicate it. She didn't know what to post. She didn't know how to stand out. And every time she tried to create content, she'd overthink it, second guess herself, and just end up not posting anything. Sound familiar? So she booked a call with me, $500, 1 hour. And here's the funny part, y'all. I don't even know where she found this link. This was something I put up almost 2 years ago when I was just starting to test out ideas for what would eventually become Brick by Brick. Now, the link is buried somewhere on the internet that I can't even find to take it down. But I just need y'all to know I need to always be transparent that you cannot book these calls anymore. But somehow Dawn found it. She booked it. And I was gonna honor that. And I wanna show you this call because what happened here is exactly what happens inside Brick by Brick. This is the caliber of person we work with. This is the type of transformation that's possible when you have the right foundation. But first, let me show you what Dawn sent me just a few days after our call. Now, that's the transformation. In 1 hour, Dawn went from overthinking and staying silent to taking action and posting with confidence. Now, Dawn didn't even need to send me that email, right? I didn't ask her to send me that, but I was so fired up when I got that email because it's exactly what I do this for. Again, I always say this, there's enough out there for us to all win, but I also add this transparent disclaimer that selfishly, the more I get y'all to win, y'all that are experts. I know the people watching this, y'all are experts in the things that you do. And the more I get y'all to win, it's going to just make this world a better place. And so that's the selfish reasons I do this. And I was just really excited when I got that email. Now in this video, I'm going to show you the entire call. I'm gonna pause at key moments and explain exactly what I'm doing and why. Because there's a specific moment around minute 45 where Dawn has this breakthrough. And I want you to see it happen in real time because it can help you. But before we get there, I need to show you where she was when she started. Because most people honestly don't have a content problem. They have a foundation problem. So with that, my friend, let's dive in.
I recently started my own company. I'm about 20 years into my career, and we are here because I am very aware that as I build my business right now, my business's reputation is basically me. And so I've been posting on LinkedIn for a couple of years. Like it started off being mostly leadership development. I'm very passionate about that. It's been a lot of leadership stuff. And then it's been a lot of AI stuff. And I kind of roll my eyes when I talk about AI because everybody talks about AI, but I legitimately am interested in helping the companies, especially in my industry, because we support such an important mission, the intelligence community mission, do this right for them as businesses so that they can survive long term, but also so that they can help the mission customers, the government customers actually use AI properly. And so I actually have two businesses. One I just started, it's called Trust and Insight. The other one I've been sort of hobbling along for a couple of years now called Strategic Strengths Coaching. And the Strategic Strengths Coaching is really focused on leadership development. So especially from a technical perspective, my background is in engineering. I've ascended the ranks of, leadership and making that jump from the technical mindset to the leadership mindset is not natural necessarily, et cetera. There's all these things that happen, but there's so much value in having somebody do that well. And so I invest and pour into people in that way. And then on the AI side, it's really, now is the time. We're really early, but as businesses grow, they are going to need to use AI to carve out a competitive advantage. That's going to be important. I want to help them do that. I think that my experience, sort of my ability to see the big picture and focus on implementation, my, technical plus business acumen, all these things kind of make me, I think, a good choice to do this. And then the leadership is really important because, again, very complex set of technologies, a very unknown future requires good leadership and good thought process and critical thinking. So those two things go together in my mind. I feel very strong about my small network, right? People who know me, people who work with me, value me. I'm the kind of person that if you get to know me over a long term, you can see my value. I have always struggled professionally of like that first immediate connection, really capturing why you would want to work with me. And I think that has a lot to do with being a woman and all the things, right?
Yeah.
But that's so important, especially as I try to widen my network and go to sell my products with my company. So I'll stop right there and say that's, I think, a good way to summarize why we're here.
All right, so pause. Let me tell you what's actually happening here that Dawn doesn't even realize yet. Dawn doesn't have a visibility problem. Dawn has a clarity problem. She's got two businesses. She's talking about AI strategy, leadership development, technical solutions, government contracting proposals, capability development. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of different things she's an expert in, like most of us. But here's what happens when you try to talk about everything. You end up talking to everyone and really end up talking to no one. The other thing I'm noticing, and this is huge, is she said, I struggle with that first immediate connection. But people who know her long-term, they see her value. This is the trap that experts fall into. They think, if I can just get somebody on a call, if I can just get them to work with me, they will see that I'm amazing. But your personal brand isn't about people who already know you. It's about the people who don't. So my job in this call isn't to teach Dawn how to post better. It's not to give her content templates or hooks or a content strategy or content calendar or any of that tactical stuff. My job as an intentional coach here is to give her a foundation, because without a foundation, any content strategy I give her is just gonna add to the noise. And here's what I love about Dawn. And this is exactly the type of person, again, that we work with in Brick by Brick. She doesn't need me to hold her hand through every step. She doesn't need 47 modules and a bunch of busy work. She needs clarity. She needs a framework, and then she's going to execute. That's it. These are the people I love working with, and frankly, who I work best with. Experts in their field. They're already successful. They have receipts. They just need someone to help them translate that expertise into a personal brand. So here's what I do next. How I think about all this is like, what are the foundations of any personal brand? The way my brain works, I just think in like frameworks and formulas and stuff. But even just experimenting so much with my own brand and now with other clients' brands, I was like, okay, what is the framework here, right? One of the first platforms I really intentionally grew, like strategically grew, was TikTok. We grew to over 300,000 followers on TikTok, and then Facebook, and then LinkedIn. And so my first test with the framework was actually on LinkedIn, and it worked really, really well. And then we started implementing it in clients. The framework, or the foundation goes like this: monetization, ICP, associations, transformations, in this order, right? And I'll give a high level view, then we'll talk about it. But monetization, basically I'm saying, how would I want to monetize this brand? Like this brand of Casey Brown, right? What would I want to do? Whether I monetize it today, tomorrow, or in 100 years, like how would I want to monetize this thing? The reason that has to be the first question we answer, which we're talking about here, is because that starts giving us direction. It doesn't become our central focus, but it is our compass. All right, so this is where I introduce what I call the MIAT framework: monetization, ICP, associations, transformation. And it has to be in that order because each piece builds on the last. Now, most people don't want to talk about monetization first. They think it sounds greedy or salesy or whatever, and I used to be one of these people. But here's the thing, and I explained this to Dawn. Monetization isn't your focus, it's your compass. Let me show you what I mean. When I first started creating, I went to Northwestern. I got a good job out of that. And so I was actually making content and thought I would like making content around helping people land jobs at Goldman Sachs or at consulting, because that was my journey. And so I started making content around that. But when I was thinking about monetization, people were asking me like, oh, can you review my resume? Or can you help me here? And I was just like, I don't really enjoy that. Like that is not something I want to do for monetization. And so we pivoted, right? And so the key thing I always have to understand is like, who do I want to serve? How do I want to make money? And then that gives me my direction. See what's happening here? I'm not telling Dawn you need to go make money right away. I'm saying let's get clear on what you're building toward so you're not just creating some random content. Because here's what happens without this clarity. You post for 6 months, you get some likes, you get some engagement, but nothing moves the needle for your business, because you're not clear on what you're actually trying to accomplish. So I asked Dawn, how do you want to monetize?
Right now, what we're thinking is that the first time somebody uses Trusted Edge, they will have to purchase a 3-use sort of package. And that will be, this is all our right now, 15,000. So basically 5,000 per use. What we imagine going forward is that it'll be on a per use basis for some period of time. And part of the reason for that is those numbers might change.
Perfect. So now we know. She's selling a $15,000 AI-powered decision-making tool to mid-sized government contractors. That's the compass. That's the direction. Now I can ask the second question. Who is buying this?
A lot of the customers that we will be looking to reach have already tried a number of proposal tools. They have spent money and made investments that are usually large investments because these tools are so full featured, and they haven't seen the output that they want. So they're slightly jaded, but they're also like resource constrained. So we're trying to give them an option where it's not like going to break the bank. Yeah. There's some design things that we've built into to make it easy to use, quick, all this stuff, but like also that they can see the value without this long-term commitment.
All right, so monetization is the compass. ICP then is the map, because it's not enough to know what you're selling. You need to know exactly who you're selling to. And I mean, exactly. Most people say to me, oh, Casey, my target audience is business owners or entrepreneurs or executives. My friend, I hate to break it to you, that is not specific enough. I need to know this person so well that I could describe what they complain about with their friends at happy hour, or what's keeping them up at night, or what makes them super excited, or what are some of their hidden problems. So here's what I asked Dawn. You tell me who then, now that we have our focus,
yep,
who do we need to talk to?
A person in a mid-sized organization. So we've sort of defined mid-size as, I believe, 200 to 1,000 people. And I forget the revenue numbers, but really we're aligning it to the federal government's definition based on the proposal size, right? So mid-sized company, somebody in that company who is, one, responsible for a bid. That's usually the capture lead, but also could be all of those business development executives, and has buying authority. And so that changes in every organization. And part of like what I'm doing now is understanding who those people are, what roles they are, et cetera. Because sometimes the organization is mature enough where they've pushed that decision down to the capture lead. Sometimes they haven't. And so it's like, the capture lead can kind of do the work and suggest things, but it's somebody higher in the organization. But it's a combination of those two. So the person who has buying authority, if they're an executive, they will be responsible for growing the company in this way. They will have the purse strings, but they will not necessarily be well-versed in a particular bid. That's the capture lead. So I think the two of those.
Okay, good. So we're getting more specific, but I need to go deeper. Because knowing their title isn't enough. I need to know, again, what keeps them up at night. So I ask her, when they're at happy hour, or they come home from work, what are they complaining about?
What's stressing them is a couple things. The acquisition of the different organizations is a long cycle. It's very unpredictable. That stresses them. The inability to be able to galvanize technical people in the organization to contribute to the proposals, which will hit on our edge, trusted edge. The amount of resources that they put into preparing for the bid, not to, and it can be canceled, it can be pushed out, it can be, they can lose, whatever. So I think those things are very stressful to them. And then from a personal standpoint, if they don't deliver, right, then their jobs are at risk. If they do deliver, though, then that's an industry, or that's a role where they can kind of write their own ticket, and the earning potential is really high. The other thing that's probably stressing them right now is a lot of organizations are, again, investing in these proposal tools that aim to do a lot of the work of at least the proposal managers and various people on the team. And so their jobs might be at risk. Everybody's a little bit scared of that.
Now we're talking, because now I understand who we're speaking to and what their actual problems are. And this is the key. Your content needs to speak directly to these pain points. Most people create content about what they want to talk about because we're humans and we act out of selfish interests. But the best content addresses what your audience is already thinking about. But we're still not done, because knowing who you're talking to isn't enough. You need to know what you want them to think about you. And that's where associations come in. And this is where it gets really interesting. So associations is one of my favorite parts of this framework, because this is where we figure out how to differentiate. Remember, in this attention economy that we're in, you don't have to be better, but you have to, in all caps, have to be different. So I asked Dawn, When your name comes up in a room full of your ICP, your ideal customers, these capture leads, these biz dev executives, what do you want them to say about you? What do you want them to think? What do you want them to feel? Your name comes up. What do you want to be associated with your name?
Yeah, so I want technical depth. And that's something that for people who work with me and know me, they would say about me now, right? Like, and I'm confident in that.
Yeah.
So I want to expand that. I also want people to associate with me with, I don't know how to say this succinctly, have a vision for AI that doesn't correlate to exactly what we're doing and using it for now. In my vision, which is what will happen over time, AI is a commodity. It's like a utility, right? And what will happen is just like electricity. Nobody's like, hey, you should work with me because I got that electricity, right? What they are doing is using the power of this new thing to carve out a competitive advantage and do things differently. And so I want people to associate me with that vision of the future, embracing the power of this very diverse set of technologies. So I want them to be able to say, like, Dawn can get us where we need to go. Something like that, right? We know we need to do AI. Dawn can help us figure out what that means and get us there. That's what I want. I mean, the leadership development piece will always be important to me. So if somebody says Dawn's really great at strategic thinking, she can help you develop those skills. Also something that would be good. But again, I tie that into the second point, because in order to get there as an organization, you got to have some people who are thinking strategically and understand what's important, even as core principles, to even craft that vision.
Okay, stop. Did y'all catch what just happened there? Dawn has a vision for AI that's actually contrarian to what most people in her space believe. Most AI consultants right now are selling hype. They're selling fear. AI is going to replace everyone. You need to adopt it now or die. Dawn is saying something completely different. She's saying AI is going to become a commodity, like electricity. The real question isn't whether you use it, it's how strategically you use it. That is her differentiator. That's what makes her different from a lot of, probably 90% of other AI consultants out there. And I call this out to her immediately. And this vision for AI, I love this because to the point around, I don't have to be better, I gotta be different. One of the big things I'm always saying is like, what does your industry generally niche believe that you don't? You know, it doesn't have to be so contrarian, but some people fitness people don't think that you got to walk 10,000 steps. Right. Let's talk about that. Right.
Yeah.
Some realtors don't feel like you need to buy a house or you shouldn't buy a house. Right. Some personal finance folks might be like, you shouldn't save money. I don't know. Like whatever you believe that is different, we need to highlight that. I don't think that you need to post every day. To build a brand. See, this is what most people miss. They think differentiation is about credentials or experience or features. But real differentiation, what I like to push on, is about perspective. It's about what you believe that the majority of your niche or market don't. And those associations, technical depth, strategic vision, this idea of AI as a commodity, those directly inform how Dawn shows up in her content. But here's the thing, we're still missing one piece. And this piece is my favorite piece because this is the piece that changes everything. This is where Dawn has her breakthrough. And when you see it, you're going to understand why she said that $500 was worth every penny. It's also, my friend, going to help you. Let me show you. If that ICP followed you for 90 days or consumed your content for 90 days, whatever, what transformation would you hope they had?
I'll just throw out a couple of my gut thoughts. The first is that they would be open-minded to the idea that artificial intelligence is a breadth of technologies, not just comprised of the generative technologies that we've seen, and that there is power in figuring out which of those technologies best help to solve their problem or address their need. The other transformation, I think, and I don't even know if this is considered a transformation, but is that it is better, I probably could say this better, but it's better to partner humans with technology than to replace them. I feel very strongly about that. I don't love what's happening in the world right now. And then third, on a more tactical level, that transformation. Yeah. I don't know what else off the top of my head.
Okay, so she's giving me good answers. These are her beliefs, her perspectives, but notice she's still thinking about what she wants to teach. So I push her a bit more because I like to push. We're here to be stretched. We're here to grow. I'm not here to just make you feel good. So I say, take money off the table. Take your product off the table. If you just wanted to help someone, if you were just trying to make their life better, what transformation would you want them to have?
So I think that the first two things are still the same. Tactically, I think they would um, do a better job of prepping or finding the people in their organization that are willing to be involved in proposals, better preparing them, and then better investing in capabilities that will truly meet a mission need so that they can win the work, but also actually provide value for the mission customer. Because again, we work in the national security mission, very important.
I like that. Awesome. I'm just trying.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, I can see.
See that pause? That moment where she's really processing? That's the moment where it all starts clicking for her. Because she's realizing she's been thinking about what she wants. And I'm asking her what they need. And then she gets it.
I think I understand. Because I think if I answered what would I want them to have, which is a little different.
Yeah.
I would want each of them to have, if I were just trying to help them out, like I'm super rich, I don't care about any of the money, just trying to help them out. I would want each of them to have, for every proposal that they did, a technical SME who understands the tech, understands the customer very intimately, and understands proposals so that they always can answer those two questions that I talked about. That's what I would want them to have.
I like that. I love that. Right? Because again,
Thank
now
you.
the foundation, back to like what I want. So now I put out guides or resources or
No, you
a book
totally
or
unlocked
whatever.
that in my mind. That's
Exactly.
amazing because now I'm thinking through all the things that
That you need.
derive from that. That's
Exactly. And
amazing.
there's so many things, right? And so
Right.
again, that's what I'll go through even on my own journey of it's like there's so many things I could talk about now. Now I'm never that people are like, do you have writer's block? I'm like, no, like there's so many things. And I could just keep talking about different things every week. Or I could
Right.
talk about a camera, I could talk about a brand, I could talk like all along that journey to get somebody from where they're at to your desired state, you know all the different things that even you
Right.
had to do to get there,
Right.
right? And so now I talk about all those things.
This is so exciting because yes, I can totally see it. I
Yeah.
feel so empowered by just that.
And my friend, there it is. That's that $500 moment that, again, I hope y'all all are starting to have for yourself. Because in that instant, Dawn's entire approach to content just shifted. She's not thinking, what should I post about AI today? She's thinking, how do I help my audience get access to the right technical experts for their proposals? And now she has an entire roadmap of content ideas. See how that works? Once you know the transformation, the content writes itself. And I want you to notice something here. This breakthrough happened around minute 48 of our call. That means we spent almost an entire hour building the foundation before we got to the content strategy. And that is on purpose, because without that foundation, any content tactics I give her are worthless. And I hate to call a lot of y'all out and a lot of different YouTubers and stuff, but again, all of these YouTube videos and Instagram videos and LinkedIn posts that y'all probably have saved with all of these tactics are useless unless you have this foundation dialed in. Because with that foundation, now Dawn can create content for years without ever running out of ideas on any platform she wants to. And this is what I mean about the type of person, again, that I love to work with, that I work best with, and brick by brick. Dawn didn't need me to spoon feed her content ideas. She didn't want that. She didn't need me to write posts for her. She needed the framework. She needed clarity. And then she went and executed. Let me show you what happened next. But outside of that, the 4 buckets that I generally also think about once I have my foundations, I think about these kind of like 4, some people I guess would call them like content buckets or whatever. But there's 4 buckets that I think about after I have my foundation. One is like just technicals, like frameworks or a guide or an acronym or a breathing technique, right? Like frameworks. Example, if I was a fitness person, this would be, hey, here's a arm workout for you today, right? If I was a realtor, I would say, here's some places you can find off-market deals, right? Like just the technicals.
Yeah.
And so Generally, once a week, there's some technical piece of content that goes out for me, right? Mine's
Mm-hmm.
looks like here's some hooks or here's some scripts or here's something, right? For
Mm.
you, one piece of the, and again, it all goes back to the transformation I want somebody to
Mm-hmm.
have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one-ish piece a week is like technical, right? Here's like nothing super fancy, just like here's the steps to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that I usually post at least once a week, I probably post it more, is just like personal stories. But the personal stories are not just I. They are I did this, and here's your takeaway,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there is still transformation that I want you to have through my personal story. Whether it's like, yo, I was traveling and I thought about this, or it's a bigger thing like, oh, how I grew up and I thought about this, right? I put out a lot of personal stories. Those personal stories help associations. Two, it helps connect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like those
Mm-hmm.
are generally my highest engaged posts. There's a lot of vulnerability in there. But the key is that it's not just about me. It has
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
transformation or takeaway for that user generally at the
Yeah.
end. Third bucket, first bucket, like technical framework. Second bucket, personal story with transformation baked in. Third bucket is someone else's story. And so I'll talk
Mm.
a lot about
Mm.
and leverage other people's stories, you know, whether
Yeah.
it's like, yo, my friend did this, or whether it's Don Staley did this, or Beyonce did this. Like, let's break this
Right.
thing down, right?
Yeah.
And this all goes back to human psychology. Humans learn the best way through story. And so I use story a
Yeah.
lot
Right.
because I want to still get that transformation out of them. And I want to entertain them a bit. I want to hook them
Yeah.
in, and I still want to give them that transformation.
Yeah.
And the
Makes
last
sense.
thing that I'll say is resources. And
Mm-hmm.
so I will pull different books or podcasts or YouTube videos, whatever, like, hey, ICP, I want to get you here. Here's some resources,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's not even like my stuff, but now they are just continuing to see me as like, yo, like this person's not even trying to sell me. Like they're just trying to give me,
Yeah.
they're just trying to help me out,
Yeah.
right? And now they have a stronger affinity towards me because I'm just continuing to help them out. So those four
Yeah.
buckets is where I usually play, and that gives you my weekly landscape. Technical, like a framework sort of thing, personal story, other story, and then resources. So at this point, Dawn has the complete framework. She knows her monetization, her ICP, her associations, and most importantly, her transformation. But I want to make this even more actionable for her. So I give her a simple, very simple content strategy. 4 types of content she can rotate through. 1 per week if you're posting weekly, or rotate through them if you're posting daily. But here's the key. Every single piece of content is filtered through that transformation. Does this help my ICP get them to where I want them to be? If yes, post it. If no, don't. That's the whole system. That's the magic system. And this is why Dawn paid $500 for this call. Because this isn't just advice. This is a framework she can use for the next decade. And again, this is what I talk so much about in Brick by Brick. Our Brick by Brick program is not about tactics. I am very clear about that up front. If you want some quick and easy hacks, please go somewhere else. Our Brick by Brick program is about principles that I've learned being in this game and building on various platforms like TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. We take all the learnings and distill them into principles that exist and will keep existing no matter what platform comes next. All right, so that was the call. About 60 minutes, we covered the framework. Dawn had her breakthrough, and then we ended it with a clear action plan. A few days later, Dawn sent me this email. I almost didn't post it because things aren't perfect yet, but I did anyway because of you. That line right there, that's the transformation. From overthinking to taking action. And this is exactly what I mean about the type of person we work with. Dawn is an action taker. She had the call, she went to a coffee shop, she got to work, she didn't wait for perfect, she didn't need me to even check in on her, she just executed. These are the folks, experts in their field, already successful, already having the receipts. They just need the framework and then they go build. That is who this YouTube channel and all the stuff that I put out there, that is who this is for. But again, I wanted to follow up with Dawn. So 2 weeks later, we jumped on another call, and I want you to hear what she says.
Yeah. So I do a lot of leadership development. I think I told you that, and I've been doing this for years. And when I listen to you, I see myself in that capacity because I get as much out of it as the people who I'm interacting with. And I always get such great feedback from them about how I've changed their life or, had some amazing impact on them. And it feels amazing. I even tell them sometimes, I'm like, sometimes maybe I think I'm selfish for doing this because I
Yeah.
get so much back.
Yeah.
And even just in our first conversation, when you said that, it was so genuine
Yeah.
and I understand it and I really appreciate it, right? So when I thought about sending that email, I almost didn't because I was like, is she even gonna get
So
this?
happy you
But I was
did.
like,
Yeah.
good, because I meant every word and I know what it feels like when I get those things from people. And I just really wanted you to know that like that time you spent had a real impact and it will continue to. So thank you.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. Man, this is why I do this right here. Because Dawn gets it. She does leadership development. She knows what it feels like to help someone have a breakthrough. And she's saying that's what this call gave her. And now she's going to take that framework and help other people. That's the ripple effect. 1 hour, $500. Transformation that lasts forever. All right, so here's what I want you to take away from this, my friend. Personal branding, at least how I think about it, isn't about tactics. It's not about going viral or having the most followers or any of that. It's about having a foundation that gives you clarity. Monetization, ICPs, associations, transformation. When you have that foundation, you are no longer guessing. You're not copying what other people are doing. You're not just posting just to post because some guru on YouTube with a hat to the back told you to post. You know who you're talking to, you know what you want them to think about you, and you know where you're trying to take them. And from there, content becomes easy, consistency becomes natural, and building a brand actually feels exciting instead of exhausting. Now, I know some of y'all are watching this and thinking, I need this. I want what Dawn got. And here's the thing, these calls, I don't do them anymore. Again, that link is buried somewhere and I'm trying to still find it and take it down. But what we do have is our brick by brick program. We run a few cohorts throughout the year. So this is where we build your foundation together. We workshop your content. We build habits that lead to real consistency. And here is what is important and what I'm very transparent about. This is not for everyone. It's for people like Dawn, experts in their field, already successful, already have the receipts, people who don't need their hand held through 47 modules of busy work. They need the framework, they need clarity, and they are ready to execute. They are ready to take action. So if you are ready, if you are one of these folks, you're like, oh yes, this is me. You can sign up. You'll see somewhere you can sign up for the wait list. Our last few cohorts have sold out in just a few days. So please get on the wait list. And that is where I drop all the information when we do our next cohorts. But either way, whether you join us in Brick by Brick or not, I want you to take this framework and run with it. This is why I put this out there, because there's enough out there for us to all win. I'm sharing this call because I genuinely believe when one of us wins, we all win. So go take this, take the framework, build your foundation, and go create something amazing. Monetizations, ICP, associations, transformation. Answer those 4 questions honestly, and I promise you, my friend, your content will never feel aimless again. That's it from this video. If you got value from it, please hit the subscribe button. I am trying to show my team I need to spend more time on YouTube in 2026. And although I'm a CEO, just like I require of them, I like to bring proof to the table. And so having more subscribers is going to help me bring proof to my team that I need to cancel some of my meetings and spend so much more time here. So with that, my friend, I'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it.